The story of my life is that I have never been given anything free. I've had to work for anything that I have had. I have said it before and I will say it again. I don't know what a gold spoon looks like. It has never been in my mouth. I have no inheritance or any endowment or any trust fund anywhere. Whatever I have worked hard and honestly for it. I have never gained wealth by exploiting the people. No. And I want to say to you that my ethic is that I believe in working for what I have. By the sweat of my brow, I shall eat bread. And that is the ethic of the Jamaica Labour Party. We work for what we have. And in the same way, we are working for the third term. We are not believing and acting as if we are entitled to a third term. There is no entitlement. Some people behave like they own Jamaica. It doesn't matter that time come for them. It's not a matter that they work for it. It's not a matter that they deserve it. It's not a meritocracy. It's just that time, the effluxion of time. It's just so. But we have never, I certainly have never behaved entitled in Jamaica.
And it has now come out that the Prime Minister has even more legal problems. From the report reached Parliament last year, September I think it was, I said publicly the Prime Minister should take away himself. You cannot be running the country and be in charge of government with a cloud of this nature hanging over your head. I said to the Jamaica Labour Party, as an institution, they need to do the right thing. They have decided to tug it out. And look what happened now. Well, all I can tell you is third term is imploding. It is not loading because the people of Jamaica will not accept being governed any longer by a government in which they can have no trust and confidence.
People, Andrew Holness go up on stage, go cry the living eye water. And the reason why Andrew Holness a cry the living eye water is because him a lie to the people them. Even though the Integrity Commission and the court put out the affidavit, the man still I try to convince Jamaican people that nothing no go so. Even when him lose the court case and if you go a appeal with the court, with the case, Andrew Holness still try to convince us, the Jamaican people, that him never born with no gold spoon in his mouth and him work really hard for what him have. Andrew Holness, how you become a billionaire? That is the question where everybody asks and I try to get the answer for. How you become a billionaire? Your crocodile tears, when you go up on stage, go cry. That not frighten we. That not frighten us, the Jamaican people, because we don't see say you is nothing but a criminal, a purse grabber. You rip away the poor people and purse from them. Take away every single dollar from them. Plus you sell out Jamaica and become a billionaire. Andrew Holness, you no work for everything what you have. You cannot trick us, the people of Jamaica. You think we don't? You think we are labor right? You think we born back a cow? Oh, you try to trick. We do crocodile tears. Who are you try to trick in? Because you certainly cannot trick the well-thinking Jamaica them, we have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and know say, I rob you rob. If you have what you have. Here you work for some of it. We now go say you know work for some of what you have. But I know everything where you have, you work for. Because you have people where they make more money than you, work harder than you, and them still can't reach up to feel your money, and them even work before you. So Mr. Bro Devil, the next time you want to cry crocodile tears, go on in your yard and think about, just go on home and think about the prison term. Because that is going to be a rough one. And let me tell you this, Mark Golding said to tell us, say, when the right time come and him take over government, you are going to charge for corruption. And you know just going to charge for corruption, but you are going to go up a big yard as well. You understand? People don't agree with me. Andrew Holness did not work for everything that him have. Don't agree with me, right? Blessed morning to my viewers and my subscribers them. We hope everybody having a blessed and a wonderful morning. Now, my viewers and my subscribers, remember, in everything you do, always put God first. In every and any situation, just always remember to call upon God. Always remember to pray, because a prayer a day keep the devil away. Now, my viewers and my subscribers, we have a lot coming up inside this update, so you definitely don't want to miss none. So remember, watch the video until the end. And remember, like up the video, share up the video, and subscribe to the channel. Alright? Make a run the intro and come back. We soon forward. Welcome back to my viewers and my subscribers them. Big up to all of my viewers, big up to all of my subscribers them. We continually support the channel and help the channel to grow. Now people, remember to like and share this video. Remember to like and share this video, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed as yet. Now, I want to say a big thank you to the two person that reach out to me and make a contribution towards me getting an apartment. As you know the story, people, I almost lost my life a week ago because I lost my apartment. I could not afford to pay the rent, so I lost my apartment. I had nowhere to go, so I had to go on the beach, stay in one of the stalls that them sell crafting. No, there is no door and door stall. You just go in and you go get your rest. You understand? Some guy came and they want to rob me, but there was nothing for them to rob. So them decided, all right then, they might go take my life. But with the grace of God, I cry and I beg them. I beg them a chance. I tell them, say, I have my kids them. And for some reason, them allow me to go on. They did not took my life. And I have to give God thanks that I am here today. So, that is why I came and I said I'm going to put my pride aside and I'm going to ask for some help from my subscribers. So people, you have two of my loyal subscribers that made a contribution towards me getting an apartment. But you know people, me still need more. You understand me I say? Because it's still not reach the amount we more than want to get an apartment. So we're still seeking more help. So anybody that are willing to help me to get somewhere so I can be safe, you can reach out to me on WhatsApp at 5940855. That is 5940855. I will be grateful for whatever you had. All right, please and thanks. If you can help, please help. All right, I almost lost my life And I have to give God thanks and praise for what he had done for me. He made them spare my life. So I'm really grateful for that. So if you want to support me in getting an apartment, then just reach out to me on WhatsApp 594-0855. And for my 2 loyal subscribers that heard my cry and connect with me and make a donation, make a contribution, I have to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. May God continue to bless and keep you, and may your food basket never go dry. Thank you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You don't know what that really means to me. You don't know how much it really means to me, knowing that I got a start. I got a start. So that simple means say, from the start, it can be finished. So I can get somewhere to lay my head. All right, so thank you again, guys. Thank you very much. Now, my viewers and my subscribers, Damian Crawford laid out his plans on the table. But before we go to Damian Crawford, I heard they said that PNP wicked because PNP frozen teacher pay or public sectors pay and sabotage public sectors. But the problem is that you don't know how labor rights stay. When them are telling you the story, them not telling you the story right. Them not telling you the story straight. Them just going to want little part of the story. So, me I go give you the real breakdown on that story as well. But people, before we go to that, Andrew Holness say him not try to control Jamaica. At the other side, I try to control Jamaica, which is PNP like Jamaica for them. We all know how Andrew Holness stay, and we know say the labor right them make it plain and straight say they will never surrender Jamaica to the People's National Party. They will never hand over Jamaica to the People's National Party. Them are go a war first. But people, listen what this man had to say, people.
Some people behave like they own Jamaica. It's just a matter that time come for them. It's not a matter that they work for it. It's not a matter that they deserve it. It's not a meritocracy. It's just that time, the effluxion of time. It's just so. But we have never, I certainly have never behaved entitled in Jamaica. A part of the challenge that I face is that I represent a disruption, a real disruption for those persons who believe that they have an entitlement to Jamaica. You see, I don't have any Tapanaris in me. I am 100% purebred Jamaican. The struggles that you went through, I went through. I know what it is to walk to school. I know what it is to not have a seat in a classroom. I went to Spanish Town Primary with more than 60 picnic in the classroom. I know. And it is because I've had those experiences why I believe that I have been able to direct the development.
Me really can't believe say Andrew Holness say him no have no Tapanaris in him. Him no have no gangsterism in him. When Andrew Holness a behave as if him is a gang leader in a country. Andrew Holness a behave like a gang leader, like a dictator, like a controlling freak. He want to tell you when to walk, when to talk. He want to tell you how to talk, what to say, and what to say about him. It's like him no want the other side. Just the other day me hear him say, we don't need no opposition. We don't need no opposition because in people them, in people, Yeah, I say, it does people him over the on the Jamaican Labour Party side. I watch over him. And them make sure they stay in line. So they don't need no opposition. You can't even trust not even the dog over upon the Jamaican Labour Party side. Because the whole of them corrupt like Andrew Holness. The supporters them, majority of them, now and nothing in their head. Their head space empty. So me don't know where Andrew Holness are talk about. This man is just a national disgrace that should step away and step straight into the police station and let them lock him up. But before we go any further, let me show you something. Say, a labor right crashed the country and the IMF did a try to program the People's National Party in our way. So people, check this out.
I'm glad you brought this up. Let's go into this because we understand that labor rights really and truly are utterly clueless and they have no idea as to what caused the wage freeze or why there was a need to have a wage freeze. So we're going to go into it. Okay. So the short answer for why there needed to be a wage freeze is the IMF. The IMF, one of the conditionalities of the IMF was a public sector wage freeze. Now let us get down into it and exactly what caused this. The IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, is an international lending agency, but they don't just come in and lend you them money. Let us liken the IMF to a colony of vampires. You have to invite them in, and one, they control you and suck the life out of you. Yeah, that's basically what the IMF is. So, how did the IMF get here? Short answer, in 2009, then Minister of Finance Audley Shaw decided that he couldn't go it alone. He needed the intervention of the IMF when Jamaica was on the brink of financial collapse. And that was, of course, caused by the global meltdown. This is not according to me. Go on ChatGPT and hear it for yourself. No. Why did the global crisis affect us so much? We're going to get down into that too. You see, labor rights love to blame the global financial crisis of 2008 for the repercussions that Jamaicans face without taking accountability or responsibility. But in truth and in fact, Audley Shaw and the JP at the time were basically, we told them that, listen, this global meltdown is going to affect you. And they underestimated the global meltdown. As a matter of fact, Audley Shaw was famous for saying, the global meltdown won't affect us. Our economy is strong enough to sustain the global meltdown. Audley Shaw said that. You don't believe me? You can look it up. As a result, he made no efforts to bolster Jamaica's economy or safeguard us against the effects of the global meltdown. So when you hear labor rights blaming the global meltdown for Jamaica's economic collapse during the Bruce Golding administration, just remember that they did nothing to protect the people. The minute the JLP came into office, they withdrew their monies from Cash Plus and Olint, as we see with the affidavit, Andrew Holness. All of them did it. And then they basically clamped down on the alternative investment schemes. Now, just think of SSL times 10. So a lot of people who had invested in these alternative investment schemes lost everything. Why? Because when Audley Shaw was campaigning, to be Minister of Finance before the election where Bruce Golding won, Audley Shaw said, and I quote, there is a place for alternative financial schemes in Jamaica. And so everybody bomb rushed them and put their money in there and then vote for JLP. And as JLP went into power, JLP took out for them money and shut down every last one of them. That was a part of the collapse of the Jamaican economy. Coupled with the shock of the external shock of the global financial crisis, that the JLP refused to prepare for because they didn't want to heed the warning of the technocrats. The technocrats did warn them. So let us fast forward now. So Audley Shaw decided that he had to invite in the IMF. And the IMF came in, and the IMF gave Audley Shaw conditionalities. Now, Audley Shaw failed successive IMF tests. Again, you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take my word for it. I did an entire ChatGPT video yesterday asking about that. Just scroll through and you will see it. All right? ChatGPT did talk about this. No. Audley Shaw could not do the wage freeze. Why? Because again, when he was on the campaign trail, he promised public sector workers 100% increase. And remember, Edith Allen, the lady, the Nurses Association of Jamaica lady, she passed on now. And she take him on because he promised nurses 100% and then him couldn't give them because of the IMF conditionalities. Right. So one of the reasons why Audley Shaw failed is because he was caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. He promised the people them wage increase, but IMF say him can't increase the wage. So him did have to give the public sector workers a wage increase, a 3% wage increase, and fail the IMF test. That is one of the reasons why he failed one of the IMF tests. So remember now, him failed IMF test, still IMF write off Jamaica, and his PNP with Dr. Phillips and Portia Simpson Miller had to go and renegotiate an extended fund facility with the IMF, a different deal, because the JLP had a SBA, standby, whatever them call it, a SBA. That is the loan, the type of loan they had with the IMF. And Peter Phillips and Portia Simpson Miller had to renegotiate. And one of those conditionalities was, listen, your public sector wage bill is too big. It is too big. You need to cut it. So you go either fire the people them, or you're going to give them a cut in them salary. And what Peter Phillips decided to do, because as Portia Simpson Miller said, and this is why I love this woman so much, you have to balance the budget while balancing the people's lives. And remember that she's famous for saying that. And it's because she would not allow the public sector workers to be cut, because IMF recommended laying off a whole heap of public sector workers, and Portia Simpson Miller would not have it. So as a result, we had to do our wage freeze, and that is how the wage freeze came about. It's either you freeze the wage or you fire some of the people because the wage bill was too high. But you know what is interesting during the PNP's administration? Not one parliamentarian got a salary increase. The parliamentarians were also on that wage freeze. Fast forward to now. Technically, there is no wage freeze, but you get 0% increase, which is basically the same thing, because 0% is nothing. That means your wage is frozen. However, the parliamentarians this time around gave themselves a 300% increase. So now you do the maths and make that make sense. You're picking nonsense out of the sense right here. So this is what happened why there was a wage freeze. I hope that these I don't expect the labor rights to understand this, but I am arming comrades with the information so that they can pass this information on to people who are not only undecided, but people who don't know. Because ignorance is a hell of a thing. We need to be able to break down exactly why there was the need for a wage freeze. So just to recap, in 2009, 2010, then Finance Minister Audley Shaw decided to run to the IMF and invite the vampires called the IMF to Jamaica, because he failed to heed the warning that the global financial crisis of 2008 was going to create external shocks for our economic environment. So because he didn't listen, our economy tanked. He had to bring in the IMF, and the IMF came with conditionalities. Audley Shaw went on to fail successive IMF tests, 11 in total, because he was unable to meet the conditionalities of the IMF because of the promises that he made, especially to the public sector. When Peter Phillips became the Minister of Finance under the leadership of Portia Simpson Miller, they had to renegotiate with the IMF. The IMF conditionality included cutting the public sector wage bill. As a matter of fact, they wanted the whole restructuring of the public sector, which is what Andrew Holness administration did a couple of years ago and give Wooly Power pay cut the public sector reclassification. Where no for want to go home with less salary, the IMF wanted the PNP to do that, and the PNP said, we need to balance the budget while balancing people's lives. So we ain't gonna do that. We're just gonna freeze everybody's wage so everybody go home with a little something. Okay? Now, the JLP has since frozen your wage and told you that you've gotten a 0% increase. But if you don't understand that there is no difference between 0% increase and a wage freeze, then I can't help you. I'm going to drink my tea. Have yourself a great morning.
It is getting closer and closer to the general election. So every single piece of information are very important at this time, because a lot of people hear the labor right, they might talk about PNP, frozen, public sector wage, and them not really understand what really going on. So you have to give them the full lowdown on what exactly happened. You understand? Because enough people easily brainwash, So you have to put them on the right track and don't let these labor right brainwash them. Now, we are going to go over to Damian Crawford. I'm going to leave you with this video from Damian Crawford. And the people, when you listen to this man, trust me people, when you listen to this man, you say, yes, this is the person that you want to lead your children. This is the person that you want to lead education. So people, without any further ado, check it out. Remember to like and share.
First thing that I think must be acknowledged by the society is that education is in crisis. And the evidence of that can be captured at every single level of education. More recently, what is equivalent to the GED in the United States, which is 5 subjects including math and English. So our test for GED satisfactory secondary school completion is 5 subjects including math and English. So that's equivalent to the GED in the United States. We're at 18%. So only 18% of our children in that age cohort each year is satisfying that expectation after having this period of education, which should have been from age 3 to age 19, approximately 16 years of education. So
18%?
Yes, 18%. That is the 2024 CXC results. So 82% did not achieve the minimum acceptable standard of 5 subjects, including math and English. Now, it would be important for you and the listeners to also recognize that this is a decrease since 2015, because in 2015 it was 28%. So in 2015, 28% of those who sat the examinations received 5 subjects, including math and English. At this point, it is 18%. That is 10 percentage points, or what we'd say almost a 34% reduction in the number of persons receiving 5 subjects, including math and English. So poor is our performance that some entities have stopped asking for mathematics because so few persons are passing the subject of mathematics. Equivalently, you can go to the literacy mastery, 4th grade mastery. In 2015, that was 85%. Currently, it is 64%. So the 4th grade mastery has fallen almost 20 percentage points, from 85% in 2015, achieving mastery levels, to 64%, 64.6%, I believe is a factual number, achieving mastery in literacy currently. They would also recognize that basic proficiency in PEP, up to 11,000 did not achieve basic proficiency in mathematics. Another 10,000 did not achieve basic proficiency in English language in just 1 year cohort. If you extrapolate that to a 10-year outcome, you'll realize that almost 100,000 within that 10 years. So between the ages of 13 and 23, we will have 100,000 that did not achieve proficiency at the grade 6 level in math and or English. So that is exceptional facts to suggest that we are in crisis. And also, if you look at these numbers, you're seeing that there is a deterioration in performance over time. So, for example, you would recognize that there in mathematics, there's a 56 or 50 or 49, between 48 and 56 at different times, mastery or proficiency in mathematics at the PEP level. Yet, when you get to the CXE level, there's a 30% pass in mathematics. The vast majority of those being grade 3. So, at this point, therefore, it is imperative for us to recognize that there's a crisis in education. And the reason for that recognition is that at a point of crisis, one must acknowledge that the next act must be one that corrects the circumstance, because after that, you really lead into a great negative. It is compounded by the fact that there is limited place for the uneducated in the current and worse yet in the future worlds. And the 19-year-old at this time should be independently earning their own living for the next 40 to 50 years. And so when you look at where the world would be in the next 20 years, the uninformed and the uneducated have very little space in that world. In the 1980s and 1990s, early 2000, muscle work was more prevalent than it is currently. Those who used to mix cement have been replaced by the premix truck. Those who used to chop bush have been replaced by the weed whacker. Those who used to wash clothes have been replaced by the washing machine. And so as machines replace muscle, the knowledge economy becomes more important. The knowledge society becomes more important. And those without the ability to learn, the capacity to think, and the evidence of knowledge are going to have a very difficult time earning an income and providing for themselves. And so we cannot continue with this situation of sacrificing our children and having the outcomes of education be so insignificant that we have in your own newspaper reports of a school like Pembroke Hall with almost 80% in 7th grade not having the ability to read. We have seen that as well for Holy Trinity. They said in that news article, of the 207, almost 200 were incapable to read. And the principal indicated that the grade 8 was not much different from that grade 7. We as the People's National Party sees that as a fundamental flaw within the system, because statistically, where the majority fails, it is not an individual problem. Where the majority fails, it's a systematic problem. And so we have started to, well, not started, we have long been studying the system of education and what are the issues facing these children going forward. What are some of these issues? One of the issues that we have identified is the absenteeism, the high level of absenteeism. Chronic absenteeism is noted as 10%. Jamaica celebrated 22% absenteeism as a return to pre-COVID levels of absenteeism. The research suggests that at 20%, the child is likely to perform as if he never attended school in an exam. So not that he will not have any knowledge, he might have greater knowledge than those who didn't attend school, but he's likely to perform as poorly as those who didn't attend school. We celebrated 22%. Additionally, deep rural absenteeism is 55%, and rural absenteeism is over 30%. We also recognize systematic problems as it relates to nutrition and the availability of nutrition to the average Jamaican. Research has shown that 56% of Jamaicans have food insecurity, some level of food insecurity, 56%. We also recognize certain gaps as it relates to an homework gap, an early exposure gap, and that is what we call the pre-K. And also we found that there was also a gap as it relates to student motivation, student discipline, and available teachers. And I said available teachers, it means both in class, present, and competent. Sometimes you will have teachers who are not available in a particular area being replaced by teachers who are not trained in that area to just facilitate learning and discipline. So in combining those systematic problems, we have sought to make some policy conversations around how to change that system.
For a PNP government, where does it start? Where does the correction start for a PNP government?
It's a difficult question because I don't believe we can sacrifice a group. And at all ages, at all stages, there's a group that exists. So a lot of times I hear people say, oh, we start at the basic school level, all right? So there are going to be outside of the basic school level, persons who had passed that level and possibly not have gotten the necessary interventions at primary, lower high school, and upper high school level. So does that mean they should be ignored to start at some say primary school level? No. Focus must be made at not continuing the flow of persons coming from these levels incapable of performing to the right level. So therefore, with this flood that we're having, you must have firstly a stopping of the pipe, which is to make sure that basic school is performing, primary school is performing, but simultaneously you must have a mopping of the flood to make sure that those who are not reading in high school have remedial effort, those who are past that stage of basic school have remedial effort, so that those persons are not sacrificed. Because while they are an education concern to age 19, they're a national concern to age 80. And the individual who doesn't receive satisfactory education is disposed to most of the maladies of our society, such as malnutrition, which still remains a national concern through PATH and other things must be funded, such as criminal participation, which still remains a national concern, such as inadequate housing, which still remains a national concern, such as health and access to health care. All of these must be supplemented for the individual incapable of earning a living in a knowledge economy. So therefore, as a holistic reality, we must intervene to save those who are unfortunately past the fixing component of the basic and the primary school. And so
You mean within the traditional
within
setting?
the traditional setting. And so I believe it's really a hamburger approach. And the hamburger approach have the bun coming from both top and the bottom. So it is to fix the basic school while simultaneously put in the remedial efforts to rescue the persons at the end of the conveyor belt, to rescue those 8th graders and 9th graders who are no longer in primary school, but to make sure that they perform much more than the 18% at current.
There are positions here and there about whether we can actually, 1, fix it, 2, want to fix it, 3, just talking about it.
Yes.
You're saying that we need to correct simultaneously with cauterizing the, and I'm using damage for want of a better word, what currently exists.
Remediating those who have passed and ensuring we don't need that remediation to those who are coming.
Okay, all right.
But quickly, because you made a point, is it just talking? Is there interest? I think history can be used. The PMP has historically been known for the greatest interventions in education. We can go as far back as free education. We can go as far back as common entrance. We can go as far back as when P.J. Patterson took the money from NHD to do the whole rehabilitation of schools. We can go as far back as comprehensive high schools. In fact, under P.J. Patterson, tertiary access moved from 6% to 19% under P.J. Patterson. Since then, it is hovering at 21%. So that dramatic movement came through. We can go back as far as Jamal. So the greatest interventions, the one I'll give to the Jamaica Labour Party would be HEART, because Eddie Seaga did implement HEART. Some PMP would argue that it was a replacement of something else, but as an institution. But the general effort under education has been disproportionately the ballpark of the People's National Party.
So one of the things that the persons in the sector have said to me is that nutrition and skills training, they are perhaps the 2 most important things to get some semblance of fixing and moving forward. I know that there is a proposal for a meal
Yes.
per child, I think per early childhood education. Now, people in the sector have said that that has to be extended to the primary schools as well. So a meal for primary, a meal for early childhood,
Yes.
one meal, breakfast or lunch. Which is it? Is it going to be one meal? Is it going to be extended? One meal for early childhood and one meal for primary. Same meal. Everybody gets breakfast at early childhood and primary, or everybody gets lunch at early childhood and primary.
All right. So again, we're at a point of comparison because we're at a point of selection, and to make a selection, you compare the two offerings. So the current offering is the JP's offering of having path lunches, and that path lunch is for 130-something thousand children at $180. The PMP has recommended to move that to 56% of our children, which would be about 240,000. And that 56% came from the FAO's research. I think it's called Food and Agricultural Organization. But the FAO's research said that 56% of Jamaicans have food insecurity. So if 56% of Jamaicans have food insecurity, then feeding 30% seem to have left 20% without access. So that is the first thing. The second thing is to move the portion from $180 to $400. Why is this so? This is so because the global norm, what is recommended for school feeding, is 33% of the daily caloric nutritional needs of the child. So 33% cannot be met by the $180. Indeed, some schools have moved to only 3 days a week, because it's supposed to be $180 a day for 5 days. Some schools have then amalgamated this $900 to be $300 a day for 3 days because of the incapacity to create that caloric intake. Now, because the JLP is not concerned with that, it has led to a segregationist kind of system where in some schools there is a separate line for path lunches and another line for those who are purchasing other lunches. So to this extent, the difference is, one, we are doing more persons, 56%, which is 240,000.
That is the plan.
The plan. The
Okay,
proposal,
to do more.
To do more.
Okay.
And that would include from basic to high school.
Oh,
right?
okay.
But these are not the same lunches because each age group don't have an equal caloric need.
Okay.
So it is based on the caloric need. So the 400 might be too high for the basic school. The basic school caloric need might be 210, right? But the primary school might be 350, and the high school might be 400, based on the caloric need. Of course, you will then engage nutritionists, etc., to design options so that the schools can be more direct in delivering these caloric needs. Let me give you an example. Many of our girls at the menstrual period of their life are having iron deficiency, experiencing iron deficiency because of that lack of intake.
They're losing
what's the negative of that? In school, lethargy, lack of concentration, wanting to sleep, right? So without replacing that with a proper meal, caloric rice, etc., liver, there are people with greater expertise than I, right? Who would then help to recommend to the schools based on the age cohort what is it that should be cooked, consumed, etc.
I want to move to curriculum, and I have long believed that with the changing environment of education, there is a misalignment of the curriculum in Jamaica, in schools, with some of the things that we need to do. What, if any, are some of the programs, modules that are currently in the curriculum, let's say at the secondary school level, that would need expansion, to be tossed, or to be tweaked, to make the students more equipped on leave in secondary schools, whether they, especially for those who can't go on to, like, say, a sixth form.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, the role of a school system is not only for our workforce; it is for a citizen. So having captured these children from 3 to 19 The school should be shaping a citizenry, a type of a person that will best fit into and benefit our society. Creating labor is a poor part of that, but is not the only aspect of that. Some persons perceive that the role of the education activity is only a workforce, right? What are some of the challenges? And let me speak to a school like the University's UTech. When a government leaves the university to fend for themselves in the main for survival, then market forces become a driver. One of those market forces is the size of the market size, those who are available to attend. It is difficult for a college to remain a STEM college when there is low STEM matriculation. So if very few people are passing math, physics, science, then how would the school survive?
Yes.
Focusing only on that market size when it need a minimum of X to survive, to function. So that school would then seek markets where there's high matriculation, the arts, etc., etc.
Okay. Law.
Exactly. So that has been one of the realities that face UTech and even UA. Because government has almost withdrawn from their funding models. Now, the curriculum has to be reviewed because the outcomes are not